Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Likey Movie Awards Talk. This is a part two. Feel free to check out the part one if you haven't seen it yet. We discussed the Golden Globe nominations. It's a little lengthy because we love to talk about the awards, but it's a great listen if you just want to have it on in the background. We don't really do much in the way of visuals. I've got some flashcards to show you what's nominated, and I'm going to do the same with this, but it's pretty fun. We're just laid back. We're just talking, having some beverages if we so desire. It's fun times. I will introduce the panel again here. Once again, we have Taylor. Say hello, Taylor.
Hello, Taylor.
Very, very apt. Very good. And we also have Jeff. Say hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff.
There it is. Okay, great. So this discussion is going to be about two groups of nominations that were announced throughout the week after our last recording. I'll go ahead and tell you this is on a Wednesday, February 10th, right now. So the Critics' Choice Awards, their nominations came out 2 days ago. And the day after our last recording, Thursday of last week, the SAG Awards, the Screen Actors Guild Award nominations were announced. So we're going to discuss that mainly in this video. And I'm going to kind of weave back and forth through both awards since a lot of them have the same categories. And there are a lot of awards for the Critics' Choice Awards. So I may just kind of do like a lightning round real quick. What are your thoughts kind of thing on some of those awards? So that's what we're in for. Gentlemen, are you all ready to get started?
Let's go.
Yes.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and start with a Best Picture race for the Critics' Choice Awards. I'll show you the flashcard right now. Those are The Five Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Minari, News of the World, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So there are 10 nominees. Obviously, let me try to fix my blurriness there. There we go. They obviously are trying to inspire the Oscars Best Picture race, which can get up to 10 nominees. Never really does, though. It's usually about
8 or 9.
8 or 9. Was there one race where it was 7? I'm trying to remember.
Nope, it's 10 for the first 2 years, so they changed it, and then it's been 8 or 9 every year since.
Right, ever since the 2009 race, it's been an expanded field. 2008 was the final year the Oscars had 5 nominees only. Some people call it the Dark Knight rule, but because the Dark Knight was not up for Best Picture, inexplicably. Anyway, this bunch of Best Picture nominees, we have a few new ones from the last time we chatted. Most notably, the Golden Globes snubbed The Five Bloods entirely. It does get a Best Picture nominee here. News of the World is another one that kind of came in from the dark. Sound of Metal, I don't believe is up for Golden Globe for Best Picture also. Am I correct?
I believe that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom as well, I should say. I don't believe it. Did it get? Let me check my notes.
It was not nominated either.
No, okay.
Golden Globes.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of overlap and a little bit of surprises there. News of the World kind of was the one that shocked me the most of that bunch. Jeff, you've seen that movie, I believe.
Yes, and I say it definitely belongs on this list. The cool thing to think about with this list is they usually get it pretty accurate. The past few years, 7, 8 or 9 of these movies have shown up on the Best Picture for the Oscars. In fact, last year they listed all 9. There's only one movie that the Critics' Choice nominated that the Academy did not.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, and I know coming up in the future, the Producers Guild Award nominations are going to be announced. If memory serves, there's really only like 1 or 2 films differentiating from this Critics' Choice Award race. Usually. That's not always the case, but usually. Taylor, what are your thoughts on this group?
It's really interesting. I feel like it doesn't really do anything to kind of narrow down possibilities, because I feel like anything that could be on that list is on that list. So I personally, it doesn't really help that much in terms
Yeah.
of trying to think about what has the edge. But I mean, I guess like to that point, you could tally like what got the most and, you know, what categories things showed up in down the list. But yeah.
I have noticed with the Oscars Best Picture race sometimes, and this has happened back when there were only 5 nominees. If there's a strong enough lead acting performance, that sometimes does boost it up into the Best Picture rankings. I'm thinking of films like Whiplash, which it was pretty much a done deal. J.K. Simmons would win Best Supporting Actor, and sure enough, he did. Another. Room is another one with Brie Larson. The Queen with Helen Mirren. I would throw that into the list. I'm wondering if this is going to be the case with a film like Sound of Metal. I know Riz Ahmed has already won the Gotham Award for Best Actor, and he did defeat the late Chadwick Boseman in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom for that award. And he also was picked by the National Board of Review. So I'm wondering if this is an indication of the Sound of Metal picking up a Best Picture nomination. I know Jeff has watched Sound of Metal. Have you watched it yet, Taylor?
I did. I watched it a couple nights ago. I've been on a binge.
Yeah. Well, what were your thoughts on that film?
For me personally, I was not the biggest fan of the movie as a whole. I think Riz Ahmed is giving like a pretty good performance. But just like the movie as a whole, I think it has like pacing issues. Just for me, I feel like it did not really move. But one could make the argument that like that was intentional. But the movie as a whole just wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's a very slow burn of a film. It's from the same creator of Blue Valentine, if memory serves. And I watched a discussion on the film from, I want to say it was the Toronto International Film Festival, of the director and the cast. And he spent a lot of years making this film, apparently. And that might also be backing up the chances for Sound of Metal. What do you think, Jeff?
Sound of Metal as well has been on the AFI list and the National Board of Review list. So this is the third mention it's gotten in one of the major organizations, precursor to the Oscars. I
forgot it was in the American Film Institute listings. That's true. Let's see. So of these films, I have recently seen Promising Young Woman, finally. What a film. I'm very pleased with that movie.
Talk about a strong acting performance, really bringing, highlighting a movie.
That's
really
true.
Some attention to a film.
Yeah. And I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I know somebody has. Taylor, I believe you've seen Nomadland recently. Is that right?
Yes, I did. Jeff did as well. He went and saw it.
Jeff did. Oh,
in the theater.
That's right. Oh, okay. And that's another strong acting performance one. It seems like the actress race may be down to McDormand and Mulligan. And possibly Viola Davis sneaking in there as well, maybe if the vote splits or something. So you all both have seen Nomadland. I'm very much anticipating hearing what you have to say about that film.
I think we each had a different perspective on it. I know I've talked to Taylor about it. I did have the benefit of seeing it in the theater. And in terms of photography and cinematography, is absolutely breathtaking. They feature the American West, which, is a go-to for beautiful, scenic backdrops. Also, it's very, Chloe Zhao has a very naturalistic, almost documentary style. And a lot of the people in the film are real people. They're not playing characters. They're actual people that are part of this nomad culture. And so to put Frances McDormand in that environment with people and have her fit in seamlessly is a great tribute to her ability and her craft, because you forget, you're just so taken by these people's stories that you forget it's a movie at times, that it's that it's not a documentary. And then Frances McDormand does such a great job of gluing everything together. Like she is obviously the common thread that links everyone together, but the fact that she does it so adeptly is amazing. And I'm confident that's why she's gotten so much awards buzz, because she really does carry the film. I can't really think of many scenes that she's not in. And she just does a great job of being the conduit for all those people to tell their stories, which was an amazing part of the film.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I echo a lot of what you just said. Frances McDormand is giving a incredibly nuanced performance. It was and the whole movie, like Jeff said, is almost like a documentary. There's a very realistic, I want to say gritty, but also there's like a through line of like light as well to it, because it really tries to like hammer in the point that, you know, these people aren't people to feel sorry for. You know, they love this way of life, and, you know, it's just the way that they are choosing to live because they enjoy the traveling, they enjoy not being one place at once. And I think that's really, really good, because I feel like in a different kind of lens, this story could be like something that is looked down upon. But I think it's just like an attribute to like Chloe Zhao and like Frances's performance, that it's like really celebrates this really, really unique tribe of people. And I like the film as a whole. I really did enjoy it. It's not like my favorite thing that I've seen, but like I said, Frances McDormand is just like incredibly nuanced and just as great as she's ever been. So
Wonderful.
You kind of go in expecting a great performance from her, and you get it. So
Yeah, and this film seems like it's really Chloe Zhao's puppy, because not only she directs it, she writes it, and I believe she did the film editing for the film as well. So she's really going all Alfonso Cuarón for this film a little bit, in the sense that he did with Roma a few years ago. Yeah, so Minari. Taylor, you've seen Minari, is that correct?
I did. I watched it last night.
Okay. Please tell me what you're thinking about this film. I think you're Jeff, have you seen it?
I have not. It's the only one on the list I have not seen. I've seen all the other 9.
All right, let's keep it a whole lot free of spoilers, but Taylor, go right ahead. Give us kind of a synopsis of your thoughts.
I didn't really know what to expect going in. I kind of knew the basic plot, and I didn't really know how that plot would lend itself to a 2-hour feature film. But I was like absolutely delighted by the movie. I think it is like such a pure and wholesome story, and it's almost like so beautiful in its simplicity, and you just follow this family that is a transplant from South Korea, and it's just it sneaks up on you how much you fall in love with them.
Cool.
And the performances all around are just like so great. Like I said, I really, really, really loved it. Out of everything I've seen right now, like in terms of like best picture contenders, like it's probably tied for my favorite with Promising Young Woman. Like it was just
wow.
And part of it was just that it was so unexpected. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. And I'm almost like getting teary thinking about it, because it was just like it was just so beautiful. But yeah, I can't wait for you guys to watch it.
Cool. I can't wait to see it. And it's really it's very interesting to see if this dominant wave of South Korean culture will continue in come Oscar season, and we have 2 Best Picture winners in a row with South Korean influence. That I'd very much I'd be more than okay with that. So I want to show. We're gonna go to the SAG Awards real fast, and then I'm gonna go back to the Critics' Choice Awards because they have a similar award. The main award, kind of the best picture, if you will, for the Screen Actors Guild Awards is outstanding performance by a cast in a motion picture. We have those in green listed here. So we've got The Five Bloods. We have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. We have Minari. We have One Night in Miami. And we have The Trial of the Chicago 7. And just for a compare and contrast here, I will also show you the nominees for the Critics' Choice Award for Best Acting Ensemble. Once again, we have The Five Bloods. In that one, we have Judas and the Black Messiah. Once again, we have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Once again, we have Minari. Once again, we have One Night in Miami, and we have, once again, The Trial of the Chicago 7. So there's some very interesting kind of things going on there. Let me fix the blurriness. Yeah. Didn't really fix it anyway. It'll fix on its own. So best, I should say, most outstanding performance by a cast. Who do you think, would you say, is the front runner there, Jeff?
Well, I think we knew going in that Trial of Chicago 7 was going to make the list. That's pretty much one of the major things that movie has going for it, is just the amazing performances and really how they are, a definition of ensemble. I have to say One Night in Miami as well. A bit smaller of an ensemble, but all very much important to the story, and the way they work with each other is amazing. I think one thing that's an interesting absence in this list is Promising Young Woman.
Agreed.
I think that the supporting cast in that film is extremely strong. People are focusing on Carey Mulligan, very rightly so, but all the supporting players as well just do a fantastic job, and they commit, as much as she is to their roles and to telling that story. So I think that's an interesting omission. Yeah,
and I'm just looking over the SAG Award nominees again here. Let me there we go. So it's a very male dominated group of movies here. The Five Bloods, The Trial of the Chicago 7, One Night in Miami. All three of them are primarily male casts. I think it would have been great to see Promising Young Woman in that bunch. I would say Ma Rainey's Black Bottom as well. Viola Davis is the lead in that, but the band is pretty much all male. There's very few female characters in that movie as well. Yeah, it's I don't mind saying it's a little disappointing. And I really hope that Promising Young Woman has a very strong chance for Best Picture. As maybe there might be a little bit of backlash coming because of that. I don't know. Taylor, what do you think has the best odds for outstanding performance by a cast?
It's really, really tough to predict. If I was picking my personal favorite, it would probably be a tie between One Night in Miami and Minari, because One Night in Miami is just such an interesting subject, and the characters are so visceral and like larger than life that it's almost hard to like ignore a cast of characters that interesting. But the chemistry that the core family has in Minari is just like palpable. And so I don't know. For me, I would choose either one of those, but I feel like Trial of the Chicago 7 has the edge at this point, just because it's got such undeniable star power, and they all turn in good performances as well. So I could see any one of those three happening.
The two of you seeing Nomadland, can you somewhat understand it being snubbed in both of these categories, or no?
I definitely can, because like I said, it's a lot of real people not really playing characters. They're just telling their stories. And really the top two build actors are Frances McDormand and David Strathairn, and outside of that, there's really not, any other names in the film. Like there's the people she meets. There's even some of David Strathairn's family is in the film as well. So
Yeah, it's definitely the Frances McDormand show in the best possible way.
Mm-hmm.
I had a feeling that was the case. I just wanted to check up on that. Let's see some of the snubs of the best cast. We've already mentioned Promising Young Woman. Obviously, Mank is missing on both of these as well. And that is you could kind of make the same case about Gary Oldman, although Amanda Seyfried is still getting buzz and a few nominations here and there. And again, I haven't seen News of the World, but it looks like it also has a bit of a huge cast as well. Am I wrong?
It does, but it's mainly about Tom Hanks and Helena Zengel. Their story very much takes front stage. It's very much like there are a lot of people, but they're the focus of most of the action.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like they had a pretty good choosing of this bunch. I am curious about Judas and the Black Messiah. Has not reached theaters here, I don't believe yet.
I hopefully will see it this weekend, so I will let you know.
Very much
HBO
looking
Max,
forward to that film.
HBO Max on Friday as well. That's how I'm going to watch it.
Not a sponsor. Yes.
Not a sponsor, but yes.
Fantastic. Let's go on with some more acting categories here. And again, I'm gonna do kind of both at once here. I'll start with the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Here we go. Outstanding performance, female actor lead. We have Amy Adams in Hillbilly Elegy. We have Viola Davis in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. We have Vanessa Kirby popping up again there, The Pieces of a Woman. Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. And just to, as again, for comparison and contrast, I've got your Critics' Choice Award nominees here for Best Actress, as they call it. We have Viola Davis again for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. We have Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, who also got the Golden Globe nominee. Here we have Sydney Flanagan for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, which just on the title alone, I wondered if this film would be sneaking in here and there. Vanessa Kirby again for Pieces of a Woman. We have Frances McDormand again for Nomadland. We have Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. And then we have Zendaya for Malcolm and Marie. So there's a whole list of names there. We kind of touched base on Amy Adams in Hillbilly Elegy the last video. I imagine you're both shocked by that Screen Actors Guild nomination.
Actually, I'm not. The Screen Actors Guild loves Amy Adams. They really do. They nominated her where the Academy didn't. I want to say Arrival was one that she was nominated, and the Screen Actors Guild will do that. Like a couple years ago, Emily Blunt was double nominated at the SAGs and with no Academy Award nominations. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say I really like the Critics' Choice expanding the number of nominees. I know the Emmys has recently done that as well. I just think it just has a lot more names in the conversation, and I just really like that. But sure. Yeah, a lot of overlap there, and I think those four are the front runners that are overlapped. So it's pretty much, I think, at this point, who makes the fifth spot on the Oscar ballot? Because I think the other four are pretty secure.
Yeah, I agree. I've been hearing like a lot of chatter that is it Andra Day is Andra. Mm-hmm. Andra Day is closing in on that fifth spot because she made it into the Critics' Choice. She didn't make it into SAG, but then Critics' Choice could have nominated her as well as Amy Adams, and it seems like they chose Zendaya over Amy Adams. So I think Amy Adams' road to the Academy Awards is narrowing, in my opinion.
And I will say that to Zendaya's defense, there's been a lot of murmurs of her in this movie. Her and John David Washington, her co-star. I know the film just recently had a wide release on Netflix, not a sponsor, and I still have yet to see it, but it looks like it's a very actor-driven film. And who knows? I mean, she's riding quite a strong wave.
She has the Emmy win for.
Mhm.
Oh, does
She's
she?
got
For,
that. She's got that Marvel money.
oh, Marvel, not a sponsor. Yes,
Not a sponsor. But no, I don't know if you guys have watched Euphoria as a side note, but she's phenomenal in it, so she deserved her Emmy.
Yep.
Okay.
I couldn't think of the name, so thank you for saving me on that, Taylor. I was like, what? Oh, what's the name of that show?
Yeah, and Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always had a lot of attention with both the Gotham Awards and the Independent Spirit Awards. So it's very interesting to see Sydney Flanagan sneak into this race as well. This, it should be noted, the Critics' Choice Awards, this acting category has the most nominations of any acting category with a total of, let's see, was it? Yeah, 7 nominees. Oh, I'm wrong. Actually, Best Actor does. We'll get to that. Excuse my. I'm a terrible journalist. Anyway, so Vanessa Kirby in Pieces of a Woman has officially come in as a front runner to be nominated. Taylor, you recently watched that movie?
I did.
And I think I'm the only one that hasn't now. So go ahead.
It's a really, really interesting movie. And she's great in it. And it's not a very showy role at all. It's very like internal for her, because if you know what her character is going through, you're just like, yeah, she's in anguish. So yeah, I think her nominations are definitely deserved. The film as a whole, I think, is like pretty okay. But she, and we'll get to it later, Ellen Bernstein are just the highlights for that movie.
Yeah. So I watched the trailer for Pieces of a Woman, and it's a scene in a trial in a courtroom. And my significant other Sue recognized her, and I believe it's from The Crown that she is also in, and that's also where the filmmaker for Promising Young Woman comes from, Emerald Fennell. She's also in that group. So it seems like this show is churning out some amazing talents. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, you know that unknown Gillian Anderson.
Oh yeah, who?
I'm glad she's finally getting her big break just because of The Crown.
Olivia Colman.
Oh
good to see her.
Yeah, exactly. Finally getting the recognition. It's about time.
I'm gonna sweep up some of these names that just got dropped. Anyway, so we'll go on now to the male lead actor side of things. I'll start with the outstanding performance. We have Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal. We have Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. We have Anthony Hopkins for The Father. We have Gary Oldman for Mank, and we have Stephen Yeun for Minari. And then for the Critics' Choice Awards, a lot of the same names and a few more. As I said, there are 8 names on this. We have Ben Affleck coming in for The Way Back, a very early release of 2020. Riz Ahmed for The Sound of Metal. Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Tom Hanks for News of the World. Anthony Hopkins for The Father. Delroy Lindo for The Five Bloods. Gary Oldman for Mank, and Stephen Yeun for Minari. So all 5 of the Screen Actors Guild Award nominees made it to the Critics' Choice race as well. Are there any surprises, any snubs, would you say there, Jeff?
I think those names would definitely be in the conversation. I can't really think of anyone that is not on that list. I will say I'm extremely happy to see Ben Affleck in the Critics' Choice. I saw the way back before, in
the before times.
And it was just an amazing performance that I think kind of got overlooked because it was released, I believe, in March 2020. Just a great story of redemption that he goes through, and really pulls from his own life and his own life experience, because it is about an alcoholic trying to better his life. It's a very common theme with some of the awards performances, but he just does such a great job in that film. And I was expecting to hear his name more in award season for it, because it was a little bit of a departure. But I'm really glad to see him on the Critics' Choice list. Tom Hanks, perennial favorite of mine. He is really good in News of the World. And Delroy Lindo, the first time we're hearing that name. So it's interesting who the Critics' Choice kind of added to their a little bit longer list, because I think the other 5 are definitely the ones that have a pretty good lock on the Academy ballot. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how those 5 nominees end up.
Yeah, I myself am very, very happy to see Delroy Lindo make the list. I had a discussion with another friend of mine, wondering if it was the themes of his character that was kind of holding him back from getting nominated up until now. He wears not to get too political here, but he wears a MAGA hat for a majority of the film, and I personally see his character development as a descent into madness, and I think his beliefs contribute toward that, and into his paranoia and everything. It's a sight to behold, this performance, and I'm very happy that I had pretty much given up that he would get any kind of notice. So it's very refreshing to see at least the Critics' Choice would throw him a bone. Taylor, what do you think about Stephen Yeun getting nominated?
I think it's great for him. He gives a great performance. I don't know. He didn't get nominated at SAG, did he?
Yes, he's one of the 5 for the Screen Actors Guild. Yep.
Okay, then yeah, I don't think he's necessarily like the strongest performance of the bunch. The standout for I'm gonna forget her name again. I have to read it to remember it. But the woman who plays the grandmother, who's nominated for supporting, I'm gonna get her name right now because I want to say it. But she is she really steals.
Yo Jung Yoon.
Yeah, Yoon Ye Jung. Yes,
Yoon Ye Jung. Thank you.
Yes, she absolutely like steals that movie. But Stephen Yeun is, like I said, that whole ensemble is just so fantastic. So the more recognition that movie gets as a whole is a good thing. And he is like the like true lead character of the movie. Just to like give some backstory about it, it's like it's his idea that he wants to go to Arkansas with his family and start a farm. So yeah, his character is really taken charge of the entire narrative, and he does great in it.
I'm a fan of his from his days in The Walking Dead. And the show kind of lost a lot of viewership once spoilers, his character exited. I won't say why. But it was a real turning point, I think, for the show when he went on to do other things. But I have seen another film he's done since that TV show. It's called Burning. It came out a couple years ago, I want to say, and it was a much more subdued performance than what I was expecting. And the film itself, it's a very long film, and it's very very subtle and serene, the entire film, really. So is his performance in Minari along those same lines? Just it's kind of subtle and nuanced.
It is, but I feel like one of the things that the movie tries to get across is that like the American dream is for everybody. So just because this happens to be a Korean American family, it definitely tries to draw parallels between like familial bonds, how they bridge different cultures. So like he's a dad, and it's great, how he just plays like a really, really loving father who is trying to do the best for his family. And I think that does take a certain level of nuance, but yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like sometimes the Screen Actors Guild Awards absolutely nails it in predicting the categories for the Oscars, and I think best lead male actor is going to be the case here. I would very much be happy to see Delroy Lindo in there instead of one of the 5 I've listed here, but it's looking more and more Riz Ahmed, Chadwick Boseman, Anthony Hopkins, Gary Oldman, and Stephen Yeun pretty much have this locked up as of right now. And who knows? It could be a tropical storm this award season.
Could I ask you who you personally would take out?
Of that bunch right now, oddly enough, I would probably take out Gary Oldman. With all due respect to his performance,
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah, he would be. He and Anthony Hopkins, I guess, would be the only prior Oscar winners, if that is the case. But Ullman's win is a lot more fresh, and I think he did a much better job as Winston Churchill personally in his Oscar-winning performance in Darkest Hour. It kind of felt like Tom Brady winning another Super Bowl to see Gary Oldman in this performance in Mank. Like, I don't know, like I felt like he was a bit, just personally, maybe a bit above this performance from his prior work, and that's decades of work I'm talking about. But I don't know. I need to watch Mank again because again, when I was watching it, I was trying to multitask in one way or another, I feel like, and I need to just really sit down and devote it to my time. But as of now, that's what I would say. How about you, Jeff?
I think, having not seen Minari, I would have to go with Stephen Yeun as of right now. He's the only one of this group that did not get the Golden Globe nomination, so that's something to kind of think about as well. The other 4 have all kind of checked those 3 boxes with Critics' Choice, Golden Globe, and SAG. So I think I would go with Stephen Yeun.
Yeah, and I know
maybe not making the final.
I know Minari was not eligible for Best Picture at the Golden Globes. I can't remember.
Which is crap.
Oh, there's a hot take.
It's an American film.
Damn it. So I don't know. Did that maybe play a part in him not getting nominated for the Golden Globes?
But those roles are still eligible for the acting prizes. So,
okay. Well, let's go on to outstanding performance by a female actor in a supporting role. I'll go ahead and show you the card here. You have Maria Bakalova for Borat's subsequent movie film. We have Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy. You have Olivia Colman for The Father. You have Yoon Ye-jung for Minari, and you have Helena Zengel for News of the World. And let's find my Critics' Choice. Yeah, here's the Critics' Choice race here. Once again, you have Maria Bakalova for Borat's subsequent movie film. You have Ellen Burstyn for Pieces of a Woman. You have Glenn Close again for Hillbilly Elegy. You have Olivia Colman again for The Father. You have Amanda Seyfried for Mank. And you have Yoon Ye-jung again for Minari. So there we have it. Helena Zengel did not get nominated in this race for the Critics' Choice Awards, but she is nominated for Best Young Actor or Actress. I know that for a fact. I have a feeling this is another case that Screen Actors Guild Awards once again, well, maybe with Amanda Seyfried. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you. I think Amanda Seyfried will make the Oscar ballot. If you remember, 2 years ago, Regina King did not make the SAG supporting actor category, and she ended up, winning the Oscar. So I think it is surmountable for Amanda Seyfried, and it might just have been the case of maybe she was 6th in the Screen Actors Guild race, but I think she will be. I think she's just had too much momentum this award season to not make it to the finish line. I think she'll be on the Oscar list.
I agree. I think if anybody right now is kind of in the bubble, it is sadly Ellen Burstyn, even though she's amazing, but like she still has a chance. She's kind of in the gray area right now.
Yeah, I was expecting her name to be up a lot more, just from some preliminary things I read. And she does give a tremendous performance in Pieces of a Woman. So
I want to ask you guys though, how do we feel about Maria Bakalova? Could she show up at the Academy Awards for Borat subsequent movie film?
I think she could. I think there's the precedent. I mean, you have Melissa McCarthy in Bridesmaids, kind of nominated for a performance that's kind of irreverent and kind of, not really your standard Oscar fare. And I think that movie struck a chord, especially kind of what we mentioned on the last series, that movie people were talking about, and just not only Oscar buzz, but the film had strong buzz around it, and that made people want to see it. And I think that she's a revelation. She's one of those kind of new ingenue that sometimes the Academy likes to award on a debut performance. So I think it's not unheard of that she could be, nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, she's definitely checking all the boxes. So it'll be really interesting if she shows up. I was shocked to see her continue after the Globes, but she's doing it.
I'm with you there, actually. I remember seeing an interview of her as her character and Borat on Jimmy Kimmel, and thinking, man, this lady's very much committing to this role. Like I understand why Sacha Baron Cohen felt completely comfortable making this movie with her. And I remember talking to one of my pals. I was like, has there been any talk of her getting any kind of Oscar attention? And he was like, none at the moment. And like, now she's a lock, I'd say. She's nominated here. She's nominated these two awards, and she moved up to lead acting in the Golden Globes. So I'd say she might be the winner at this point. I don't even know. So it's interesting. I kind of was expecting Glenn Close to falter a little bit because of the film's lukewarm reviews, but it looks like she's staying strong there. Olivia Colman's going to stay strong, I think. I'm really wondering about the last two of the SAG nominees, Yoon Ye-jung and Helena Zengel. Helena Zengel might be another case of somebody new coming in, and the Oscars do like child performances as well, especially in the supporting categories.
Tatum O'Neal and Anna Paquin.
Abigail Breslin. Yeah. So I'd be surprised if Ellen Burstyn does break through into this conversation. Right now, my prediction would be Bakalova, Close, Coleman, Seyfried, and Yoon Ye-jung. Just going on the reporting aspect, and I still need to see quite a few of these performances. But
yeah, Yoon Ye-jung has my heart. She would be my personal choice, and I love Glenn Close, but I just don't know if Hillbilly Elegy is the thing that I want her to possibly win an Academy Award for, personally. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Very hard to say here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the supporting actor nominees. Since so we've got outstanding performance by a male actor in a supporting role. You have Sacha Baron Cohen in The Trial of the Chicago 7, and the last video I was initializing Baron. That was wrong of me. Baron Cohen is his last name, so apologies to Mr. Baron Cohen. Chadwick Boseman for The Five Bloods, kind of a surprise there. Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah. Jared Leto for Little Things, and Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami. And for comparison's sake, again, here are the Critics' Choice Award nominees. You have Sacha Baron Cohen again for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Chadwick Boseman again for The Five Bloods, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Bill Murray for On the Rocks. He also got a Golden Globe nomination in this category, so he jumped back in there. Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, and Paul Raci for Sound of Metal. A lot to discuss, I feel like here. Let's start with Jared Leto being chosen by the Screen Actors Guild Awards, but not so much for the Critics' Choice Awards. And The Little Things is another film that's getting lukewarm reviews, I think it's fair to say. Has anybody seen The Little Things since our last video?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, me neither.
If he gets nominated for the Oscar, maybe I'll watch it.
Okay, and he might. He's a past Oscar winner
Right.
in this very category for the Dallas Buyers Club.
And the film, I know we might mention this a little bit later. Little Things popped up a couple times in the Academy shortlist, so it's building some momentum in some of the technical categories as well. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean it can't be underestimated that when you have Denzel Washington in the lead performance, the voters flock to Denzel. So, but Chadwick Boseman, I think it was fair to say he was gaining attention from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and there was a question mark over his performance in The Five Bloods. And here he is getting to within a week for that performance. And it should be noted in the Screen Actors Guild Awards, he broke records. He was the first actor ever to be nominated 4 times in 1 year since The Five Bloods and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom are both up for Outstanding Cast. So, people are definitely honoring his legacy. What a tremendous honor at that. To those who have seen The Five Bloods, were you surprised to see him nominated for that film?
I don't think so. He does have a very pivotal role in that film. And I don't think it's a surprise. I think the focus has been on Ma Rainey's Black Bottom's performance, but I wasn't surprised to see him recognized for that one as well, for The Five Bloods.
And I think I was a little bit just because there are a lot of other cast members in that film as well that you could argue have a lot more of a juicy kind of work to do in that film. It is a very, very strong role that Chadwick Boseman has, but I wonder, I do kind of wonder if he would still be getting this attention if he were still alive. Maybe he would. Who's to say? But to those who haven't seen the film, it weaves back and forth from past and present, and Chadwick Boseman's character is primarily in the past, and it was weird. It was surreal for me. I watched this film, and then the very next day, it was reported that Chadwick Boseman had passed away, and I had to watch the film again just to see if it would be a different movie. And in his case, his performance was definitely elevated in light of that news. I'll say that. But to lighten the mood a little bit, Bill Murray. So Taylor, you have seen On the Rocks, and look at this grin on your face. You can't wait to dish on this film. Go ahead.
The most polite way to say it is I was not a fan of the movie. Bill Murray is fine. He's kind of just doing his Bill Murray thing. And, if you love Bill Murray, then, I guess, throw him a nomination here and there. But I don't think the movie as a whole. And Rashida Jones is great too. Like, it's like they're both like very, very capable of like leading a great movie. I just don't think this is that movie. It kind of just felt like a movie where nothing really happens. I was bored.
You said Bill Murray does his Bill Murray thing. There are ghosts getting busted in this film? Oh, I'm sorry, no.
Hey, Bill Murray does so many things. He gets caught in time loops too.
He gets stuck with a pet elephant, all sorts of shenanigans.
Yeah.
But I did finally see One Night in Miami just before this recording, and Leslie Odom Jr. getting nominated. It sounds like he's a lock. But I remember privately chatting with both of you. I'm a little amazed that his co-star Kingsley Ben-Adir, who plays Malcolm X, isn't getting the same sort of attention. I thought he was just as great, if not better. I don't know.
I kind of get why. I feel like Sam Cooke was a much more like showy kind of role, and it's so well tailored to Leslie Odom Jr.'s like personal strengths as like an amazing vocalist that it kind of makes sense to me, because I feel like the other performance was like more understated. So I don't know. They tend to go for like the bigger performances, and like I said, it was just so perfect for him.
And I think too with Kingsley Ben-Adir, he's more thought of in the lead role for whatever reason, and I think he may be getting lost a bit in the lead race, the lead actor race. Definitely agree that he does a phenomenal job, as all the actors do in that film, but I think he might be just getting a little lost in the shuffle, unfortunately.
Well, and of the four characters represented in this film, to those who don't know, it's a fictional film about Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Malcolm X, and Sam Cooke all meeting together at a motel room for a nice little discussion.
Yeah, a little celebrations how it starts out, because Muhammad Ali has just won the heavyweight title. And so it starts there, and then it goes a lot deeper into what's going on in the times and how each of them see their role in the burgeoning civil rights movement.
Well, and I was reading a little bit about the history of Sam Cooke. I was checking to see if who was still alive. I know Jim Brown is still alive and with us, but I did not know. I educated myself today about the demise of Sam Cooke. There was a lot of controversy surrounding this public figure and his murder. So it's a there was controversy because they thought he was the wrongdoer at first, because they were taking these other people's word as gospel, and as details developed, they realized that he was a complete innocent, and it's just devastating. And so I think it's a person whose career must have a prominent spotlight, and people need to learn about who Sam Cooke was. And I think that's also maybe helping Leslie Odom Jr. too. He completely honors the role too.
I think he could win. I think it's a very strong possibility.
He's my choice right now for the who's going to win, because he has so much buzz behind him right now.
And he's just been like, ever since like, winning a Tony for Hamilton, he's just been like on an upward slope, very much in the same vein as like Zendaya has been just like taking off. I think Leslie Odom Jr. is just coming up the pike. And I will give a quick fun fact. His real life wife, Nicolette Robinson, plays his wife in the movie.
Oh, wow. Nice. That's cool. And I really liked the song Speak Now at the end of the film that Leslie Odom Jr. helped write and performs as well. I do think he's very much a front runner for that race. Right now, I'm still going to say that Sacha Baron Cohen is the man to beat for supporting actor playing Abby Hoffman. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm very happy to see Paul Raci enter the race for Sound of Metal in the Critics' Choice Awards. I think it's a very understated performance, and he did get the National Board of Review's attention, so I knew that his chances weren't completely gone yet. We'll see come Oscar season with him. So I've got a few more cards here. I've run out of cards for the Screen Actors Guild Awards. I will note that the only other award I really haven't touched upon there is Best Stunt Ensemble. We'll get to that though. Right now I'm going to go to Best Direction for the Critics' Choice Awards. There's a pretty nice list here. You have Spike Lee for Da 5 Bloods. You have David Fincher for Mank. You have Lee Isaac Chung for Minari. You've got Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. You've got Regina King for One Night in Miami. You've got Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. You've got Aaron Sorkin for The Trial of the Chicago 7. quite a few of these overlap from the Golden Globe list. I believe all 5 of them are in here, right? So, yeah, those that did not get the Golden Globes attention: Spike Lee and Lee Isaac Chung from Minari, and Spike Lee for The Five Bloods. Although Spike Lee did also get the National Board of Review's attention. Lee Isaac Chung coming into this race. How do you feel about that, Taylor?
I think it's really interesting. I feel like it's a very subtle directing style. And the movie is just like really beautiful to look at. But it's not very like showy. It's not very like directory. It's not like he, imprinted like a very specific kind of style to it. So I don't know how much longevity his being included in the conversation is going to have. But I think it's like, I think if it did happen, it would be deserved just because it's such a well-crafted movie. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like, it's not as directory as some of the other ones, if you know what I mean.
Would you say it's a lot stronger in the screenplay category than the direction category?
Possibly, but like I said, it's such a simple little movie, and I mean that in like the best possible way. There's not a ton going on in it, but it is really well written. And he did craft some like very distinct characters, so it could happen. It just depends on like if there's like an overflowing amount of love for Minari as a whole. I think it'll pick up a lot of those extra nominations along the way if that's the case. So I think the jury's still out on if that's going to happen.
Do you have any surprises here, Jeff, as far as people getting nominated for direction?
No, I think again, with having an extended list, leads, the inclusion of Lee Isaac Chung and Spike Lee. I think the other 5, though, I would say that's probably the 5 that are going to move on. You never quite know, but I think those 5 have a pretty good shot. And seeing 3 women on that list is very nice. That's been consistent.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say early on, Regina King was also kind of like a maybe, will she, won't she? But they've been loving her, so that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just freshly watching One Night in Miami, I have to say I'm impressed with Regina King's direction. I'm not sure it's the top contender right now, but I think she's going to get nominated, and I think right now it is looking like 3 of the 5 will go to women. The more I think about Promising Young Woman, though, the more I wonder, am I more impressed with the script or am I impressed with the direction as well? I think it's definitely a strong script, definitely, with a message worth noting. But the more I think about the direction, I wonder.
I think it's both. The answer is both.
You think it's both? Okay.
As someone who loves that movie, I think it's both. It's always both. More things for Emerald Fennell.
I think I like the script just slightly more than the direction of that film, but you're right. The fact that I'm sitting here questioning it, it means the direction was great.
Yeah, so, it's got such a distinct look, and like when I think of that movie, just like so many different like colors and images come to mind. That I don't know. She definitely gave it a very, very like distinct style.
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier. That's another film that's kind of showing up on those short list for things like costume. It's very rare that a modern day film gets nominated for costume design. I think that speaks to the vision. Hairstyling and makeup, another thing, very rare for a current day film to be nominated in that arena too. So I think that just speaks to the choices she made and the just the overall vision and direction of the film. I think it was very cohesive. I think that's very strong direction.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But going into the screenplay side of things, again, it's just like we talked about in the Golden Globes. There's a lot of people doing double duty here. Best original screenplay. I'll go ahead and throw that up there. You've got Jack Fincher with Mank, David Fincher's brother. Lee Isaac Chung showing up again for Minari. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always showing up here. Eliza Hittman. Promising Young Woman. Emerald Fennell again doing double duty. Sound of Metal showed up here. I'm a little surprised by that. The martyrs here, and I believe it's Abraham Martyr and Darius Martyr, if I recall. And the Trial of the Chicago 7. Aaron Sorkin again doing double duty. Can you all hear my cat? He's meowing next to me right now. Anyway,
he really loves those martyrs. He's a big fan of Sound of Metal.
I'm just
Right.
laughing because I thought you were gonna say that man Abraham Sorkin.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I thought too. I was like, he knows it's Aaron, right? Okay, good. Okay, here we go.
right,
No,
right.
I thought you were saying it as a joke.
That's
we don't
Sorkin
know
on
who
the
he is.
$5 bill, right? That's Sorkin. Anyway, yeah, I'm surprised to see Sound of Metal. I'd say in this screenplay talk, and I'm pleasantly surprised to see Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. I haven't seen the film, but we have another female in the race, so that's not bad at all. So of this bunch, the Golden Globe nominees, I'm pretty sure it was Mank and Promising Young Woman and The Trial of the Chicago 7, and we discussed them having pretty strong chances last time. Do you think Minari is gonna be in that bunch as well there, Taylor?
Like I said, it's so hard to tell, and I really don't think we'll know until we see how some of the precursors like shake out, like who gets the actual award. Like I said, anything right now with Minari has a shot. I just don't know if voters are gonna like go for it. I don't think it's necessarily a divisive movie, but it's just like so specific to like the kind of movie that it is that I don't know. It's just really hard to predict how people are gonna feel about it.
Jeff, what are your thoughts on this original screenplay race?
Something I realized last time that I forgot to mention. It's very interesting that Jack Fincher writes a screenplay about two brothers in Hollywood. Like it's like,
Oh yeah,
kind of like Write What You Know. Yeah, I think it's a very strong original screenplay category. Definitely glad to see Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, because that was a film that I thought would have more buzz than it has. So I'm really glad to see that, and I'm really interested to see Minari because it's one I have heard for a while, being a contender. So it's really cool to see those two along with the other five that we've heard before. So
I'm trying to remember. You might have said it already.
there four?
I apologize, but Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Okay.
But just kind of reading, like I do year round for award season. It's just something that was a favorite early on and just hasn't shown up as much as I think people imagined it would. So
yeah,
Okay.
I only first heard about that movie. There was a movie that came out on HBO Max, not a sponsor, called Unpregnant that I really enjoyed.
Okay.
And reading reviews for that movie, it was very much compared to Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. So that's like the first that I ever heard of it. So I looked it up and I was like, what is this thing? And it looks interesting. I'd like to see it.
Cool. Yeah, I want to see it too. We're going to go to the best adapted screenplay race here for the Critics' Choice Awards. So you've got The Father. I'm going to try to remember these names. Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller. We have First Cow, another independent film kind of jumping in there. It's John Raymond and Kelly Reichardt, I think is how you say her name. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom comes in there from Ruben Santiago Hudson. We have News of the World there by Luke Davies and the director Paul Greengrass. We have Nomadland by Chloe Zhao, again doing double duty, triple duty in her case with the editing. And One Night in Miami by Kemp Powers. Okay, so it's an interesting kind of race. I'm a little surprised to see First Cow jump in there. It seems like a very interesting film. Have you all heard about this film at all?
yes, I again in the before time I saw trailers for it because it came came out about that time, February,
Really?
March, 2020. One that's on my list after the Critics' Choice Awards nominations came out, I made a list of films to see, and a lot more were added because they got attention here that they hadn't gotten in other places. So very interested to kind of see that story, because I remember from the trailer that it was a very kind of interesting, kind of comedic story. So really want to see that. I think the interesting thing is, we talked about it last time, but to kind of reinforce the three, excuse me, previous stage works that are on here with The Father, One Night in Miami, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's kind of interesting to see 3 play adaptations.
Yeah. And I remember you asking me, wait till I see One Night in Miami, and we'll see if I still think that Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is the one that feels the most like a stage adaptation. Surprisingly, I'll say yes. I think Ma Rainey's still very much feels that way. One Night in Miami does change locales enough that I think it could be accepted that you would be surprised it's a stage adaptation. I mean, you've got the boxing ring, and you've got the liquor store, and it is mostly the motel. I'm really more interested to see what the play is like for One Night in Miami than Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, because I feel like I have a pretty good idea what the stage play is for the August Wilson piece. I'm a little surprised One Night in Miami is showing up in the screenplay nominees here, but I am very much happy to see it. And Kemp Powers is the playwright behind the play too, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty cool that his film adaptation of his own work gets noticed here. And I need to get into the films of Kelly Reichardt. She's been in this business quite a bit, and she's had past films like Old Joy and a few others. I need to really investigate on her films. She's stayed in the independent scene for quite a bit, though. Taylor, what are your thoughts on this race?
I am really feeling One Night in Miami for this one.
Really?
Okay. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I thought the writing was a big part of it. And it does feel a little bit stagey, but not in a bad way. Not that Ma Rainey necessarily feels stagey in a bad way either. It's just very different. Like I don't know. I feel like Ma Rainey kind of turned out closer to what you would see on stage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but, I can understand that.
But yeah, I really am feeling One Night in Miami for this one. I really enjoyed the writing.
Over Nomadland.
I think so, yeah. Nomadland, which like also could be a strength for Nomadland. It feels very organic, which a lot of it is organic. So
right, almost documentary feel kind of.
Yeah, that could be a feat in itself to be praised, is how organic it feels. Okay. But I don't, like I said, it's kind of hard to compare the two because they're both so different. But yeah, I would personally pick One Night in Miami over Nomadland.
And over time, I might feel the same way. I did really like the dialogue of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I will say that. But as far as character development, they're both pretty equal. And you know, that's really all I got to go on as far as the world of writing. I'm gonna here we go. We're in the lightning round now, so I'm just gonna kind of go all the way through these, and just real quick say who you think. So best young actor or actress, we have Ryder Allen for Palmer. We have Ibrahima Gui, I can't say this right, for The Life Ahead. Alan Kim for Minari. Talia Ryder for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Cowlin Springall for The Midnight Sky. And Helena Zengel for News of the World. I imagine it's going to go to Helena Zengel. What do you all think?
I would say either Helena Zengel or Talia Ryder.
I think Alan Kim has got a shot. He very much like Yoon Ye-jung like steals that movie, and their chemistry together specifically. I don't want to give anything away about their dynamic and how they have a very specific grandmother grandson relationship, but they're just like delightful together, and he just like steals every scene he's in. He's so darn cute.
Okay. Best cinematography. Here we go. The Five Bloods, First Cow, Mank, Minari, News of the World, Nomadland, and Tenet. Jeff.
Nomadland.
Taylor?
Yeah, I think Nomadland has got the edge.
It sounds like he's the favorite. Joshua James Richards. He's been racking up a lot of critics' prizes, I know. Best film editing. We have The Father, Mank, Nomadland, Sound of Metal, Tenet, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. Jeff.
I'm going to pick two, Tenet or Mank.
Oh, interesting. Which one over? You have one or the over the other?
I would say, I think the reason I choose two is because Tenet, I think that was one of the strongest parts of that movie was the editing. But if it doesn't get embraced, then I think Mank had 12 nominations with the Critics' Choice. So I think it has a pretty good shot at picking up a lot of awards. So it just depends on how they see this particular race.
Okay. Taylor.
I'm gonna say Trial for that one.
Interesting.
I think it's got some really strong editing.
That's a good point. Yeah, I love the scene with when Eddie Redmayne is doing the practice run if he gets called to the stand and has to recount that story. There's some very, very nice editing in that scene alone that sticks out in my mind. I'll also say Sound of Metal probably has a pretty strong chance. Anytime you're dealing with music in a film, like live performance music, film editors eat that up. Best production design: Emma, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World, The Personal History of David Copperfield, and Tenet. Jeff, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on that one. Or again, I'm going to say Mank is in my choices in all these two, just because it was so embraced by Critics' Choice.
Okay, Taylor.
I agree. I think it's between Mank and Ma Rainey.
Okay. From the trailer, it looks like Personal History of David Copperfield is a pretty strong contender in this. I am in agreement that Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is my favorite of the bunch, although Mank does stick out into mind for me personally. So Jeff, you think News of the World isn't a very strong one for production design here?
I don't think so. I think it's a stronger contender in cinematography than in production design.
Okay.
I mean, they do create a very convincing Old West feel, but I don't think it's as strong as the sets and costumes that are from the other two films. I think Mank and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom are stronger.
Okay. Well, we'll go to visual effects now. Best visual effects: you have Greyhound, you have The Invisible Man, you have Mank, you have The Midnight Sky, you have Mulan, you have Tenet, and you have Wonder Woman 1984, which we all three saw together. Aw.
Yeah.
Let's reverse the order here. Taylor, what do you think about this one?
I think it is gonna be read it one more time. I'm sorry.
Greyhound, Invisible Man, Mank, Midnight
okay.
Sky, Mulan, Tenet, and Wonder Woman 1984.
I feel like if Tenet was gonna pick up anything, it might be here. But I also really, really love Invisible Man. And I think the effects in that are really good. So I'd love to see that get some love, at least someplace, because I do think it's a really, really great movie.
Okay. Jeff.
Kind of similar. I say Tenet has a good shot here. And I feel the way about The Midnight Sky that Taylor does about Invisible Man. I love Invisible Man too, but The Midnight Sky is just feels like a better put together movie. So Midnight Sky for my kind of my heart choice.
But yeah, will win should win.
Right, yeah.
I'll go with Tenet of this bunch. I need to see quite a few of these. Another reason I need to revisit Mank is I was not expecting Mank to show up in best visual effects. Does anybody have a theory as to this?
My theory is how they like recreate the Hollywood studios and stuff like like the big the film sets as well. And I will say, I've mentioned it before, Mank also made the short list for visual effects for the Oscars. So there's something that people are seeing that are like, yeah, that's good visual effects.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also it could just be a tribute to like if the Academy or voters for any kind of awards really like something, they can kind of work it into any category they want to. If it's got that much love behind it.
Okay, well, on that bombshell, we'll go to the next award. So we have Best Costume Design. We have Emma. We have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. We have Mank. We have Mulan. We have The Personal History of David Copperfield, and we have Promising Young Woman. Taylor, what do you think?
I feel like the most costumey costumes would probably end up being Emma. But yeah, I think they're definitely like the most striking. But I don't know. It is really cool to see Promising Young Woman get in here. We talked about before how rare it is for modernized costuming to be recognized. And as we said before, the movie has such a distinct look that it's just really cool to see that show up here. And I wouldn't be mad if it won.
Jeff, what do you think?
I'm going to agree 100% with Taylor. I think Emma is kind of your traditional choice. Period costume drama. Promising Young Woman, definitely would love to see it. Fun fact: the only film set in the present day to win the Oscar for Best Costume Design is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. So it is very rare for a film that's not a fantasy film that's set in the present day to win costume design. So it would be groundbreaking if it were to win. So I'm pulling for that one as well. Pulling for Promising Young Woman.
Yeah, of the costumes that spring to my mind of this whole bunch, it comes from Promising Young Woman, the nurse's outfit with the rainbow colored wig. But
and also her blazer from the very first scene.
Oh yeah. And I don't know, do fingernails count as costume design, or is that more the makeup department? That's probably more makeup, but I mean the fingernails, come on now. I of this bunch, I would imagine this might be one that Mank picks up along the way for more wins. I could see that happening, especially with the costume party toward the end. Although Emma is a very strong contender there. I don't think it'll be Mulan. I could be very wrong on that, but again, lukewarm responses from the critics on that might hurt its chances. And the David Copperfield film is also a strong contender. Best hair and makeup we'll go to now. We have Emma, we have Hillbilly Elegy, we have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, we have Mank, we have Promising Young Woman, and we have The United States versus Billie Holiday. Let's switch the order again. Let's go to Jeff.
For best hair and makeup, just because of kind of the transformational aspect, I got to go Hillbilly Elegy. Because what they do with Glenn Close in that it's kind of what they look for is how they transform a character. But kind of the same things that we said before with Promising Young Woman, make me want to pull for it as well.
Taylor?
Yeah, I agree. I think not to say that the hair and makeup in like Hillbilly Elegy isn't great, but I feel like they kind of gravitate towards something that is like the most drastic. So I mean, there's like precedent for like that type of hair and makeup like in the past with Vice and Bombshell both winning. So
Darkest Hour.
Yeah, I could definitely see. I mean, this very well could be like the one thing that Hillbilly Elegy takes home.
Suicide Squad won this award.
That's true.
At the Oscars,
so
Academy Award winner Suicide Squad.
Everything you're saying about Glenn Close's transformation in Hillbilly Elegy, I'm feeling kind of the same things about Viola Davis and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, to be honest. And I think she's a strong reason why it's showing up here. Of my choices here, I'd probably still go with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, honestly. we'll see how that changes. Let's go to best score. Quite a few that showed up at the Golden Globes. We have Mank by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. We have The Midnight Sky by Alexandre Desplat. We have Minari by Emile Mosseri. We have News of the World by James Newton Howard. We have Soul by John Batiste, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross. And we have Tenet by Ludwig Göransson. Jeff.
I'm going to stick with what I said at the Golden Globes. I think it's Souls. I think, but again, love to see Midnight Sky on this list as well.
Taylor.
I agree. I think Soul is gonna. I think it's as much of a done deal as like anything.
Yeah, I think we're all 100% in agreement here. Soul for me as well. John Batiste, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross. So interesting that Reznor and Ross are in that group. I definitely feel more the John Batiste side of things with that score, but I love it. It's amazing. Best song. Here we go. I'm going to try to pronounce these as best I can. We have Husavik, parentheses, my hometown, from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. We have Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah. We have Yersi, parentheses, Scene, from The Life Ahead. We have Speak Now from One Night in Miami. We have Everybody Cries from The Outpost. And we have Tigress and Tweed from The United States of Billie versus Billie Holiday. Excuse me. Jeff, what do you think?
I think Speak Now. But I love to see Husavik in there. I think it's a great shout out, because it is, the movie's really silly, but the song is really good. Like it definitely deserves to be in the category.
Kind of in the vein of A Mighty Wind, Kiss at the End of the Rainbow, right? Okay. Taylor, what do you think?
I agree completely. I really love Speak Now, and I think it's definitely more in line with like what a winner would be. But like Jeff said, Eurovision is such a weird, kooky movie. But like I'll be damned if the songs were not like so catchy. Very much like the same vein as like One Night in Miami. Like the next day I downloaded the soundtrack. And yeah, I love Husavik, and I would love to see that get nominated at the Oscars just because it is a standout.
Yeah, like I said earlier in the video, I'll say Speak Now. I think this is more of a strong chance for Leslie Odom Jr. to win than in the Best Supporting Actor category. I'm going to stick to my guns on that. So here we go. Foreign language film. We have Another Round. We have Collective. We have La Llorona. We have The Life Ahead. We have Minari, and we have Two of Us. All three of us, Minari.
I would say with the possible consideration for Another Round. I've been hearing great things about that film.
That's what I was gonna say, pretty much verbatim. Another Round has a lot of buzz.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of trailers for it. That's on Amazon Prime, not a sponsor. Is that correct?
Another Round? Not yet, I don't believe.
No? Okay. For some reason, I had that in my memory. And the only other award for the Critics' Choice Awards, because they did away with Best Sci-Fi Horror Film and they did away with Best Action Movie, we only have Best Comedy left now. And the nominees are Borat Subsequent Movie Film, The 40-Year-Old Version, The King of Staten Island, On the Rocks, Palm Spring, and The Prom. Jeff, what do you think?
Borat.
Taylor?
I think Borat will win, but out of those nominees, I think King of Staten Island or Palm Springs should win.
I have not seen King of Staten Island yet.
I'm not either.
Taylor, you've seen it?
I did see it. I really enjoyed it. It really surprised me. I liked it more than I thought I would, and Pete Davidson gave like actually a really good performance. So
yeah, he's capable.
On that, I could see 40-Year-Old Version as well, because it's very critically acclaimed. It was from the National Border Review, also kind of gave it a shout out in their top 10 list.
That's true.
I could see if I could see that possibly winning as well.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to go to Borat Subsequent Movie Film. It made the news with the whole Giuliani thing and everything. But moving on from that, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you about the lone SAG Award nominations we haven't talked about, and that's Outstanding Performance by a Stunt Ensemble. The Five Bloods, Mulan, News of the World, The Trial of the Chicago 7, and Wonder Woman 1984. Taylor, what do you think?
I don't know.
It's a lot of strong stunt ensembles there.
I know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Wonder Woman is definitely like the most like that one and Mulan are definitely the most like blockbustery, actiony kind of movies, but their reception wasn't exactly the best. So I I would say Trial.
Okay. Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you think?
Well, the last three winners have been Wonder Woman, Black Panther, and Avengers Endgame. So I'm going to say Wonder Woman 1984.
Okay. Yeah, they do like to go to the superhero side of things with this award. But I'm gonna go toward the war side of things, and I'm gonna say the Five Bloods. Although Mulan might actually have a strong chance here. Speaking of war films.
Did either of you see Mulan out of
Mm-mm.
curiosity?
I did
watched
not.
it. I watched it when it was
yeah.
$30.
When it was $30. Okay.
I liked it. I liked it at the time. I definitely understand a lot of the criticism, but I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, that could maybe happen. But people like really don't like that movie though.
I imagine the stunt work is maybe one of the stronger reasons why people were excited about this being a live action adaptation.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of the stunt work is great because they shoot it very much like a traditional like kung fu movie, which was like very enjoyable. So I don't know. It could happen. I just think the overall like disdain for the movie as a whole is gonna hurt it. But you know, same could be said for Wonder Woman. So what do I know?
All right. Well, that really concludes our video. We yesterday we had the short lists come out for a few of the categories for the Academy Awards, but I'm going to give the rest of our panel some time to read that over and form some opinions on that before we do another one of these. And there will be another one of these videos because we have a few other nominations coming up on the horizon. The Producers Guild and the Writers Guild all have to name their nominations pretty soon. And of course, we're going to talk about the big one, the Academy Award nominations. So stick around with these with this series of Likey Movie Talk Awards, Likey Movie Awards Talk. There, I got it right. Oh man, it's getting a little late, isn't it? All right. Any closing thoughts, Taylor or Jeff?
Just look forward to the other guilds announcing in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and when are the BAFTAs announced?
Oh yeah, that's another one.
They're a week before the Oscar nominations.
Okay.
Yeah, we get a lot the first 2 weeks of March. There's a lot because the nominations for the Oscars are the 15th, and the PGA and DGA announced in, and I think the WGA announces next week on the 16th. So
yeah, hoping. I'd say I'm hoping that a Promising Young Woman does well at the BAFTAs because it's got, I believe, Emerald Fennell is British, and so is Carey Mulligan. So hopefully they'll eat it up.
That'd be cool. Yeah. So yeah, Producers Guild, Directors Guild, Writers Guild, BAFTAs. We have a lot more to talk about. So we'll see you for our next video. And once again, punch that bell to get all the awards talk. And the game show will be returning at some point. So thank you all for coming in. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for listening to us. Have a good night.